Hey guys, welcome back to Million Dollar Marketing. Today we're going to dive into the science of high converting funnels. We're going to talk about faith, family, scaling businesses, and I've got my guest here, Jimmy Allen. And if you've ever wondered how to create offers that truly convert or build funnels that generate millions while balancing business with faith and family, this episode is for you. And I'm so excited to have Jimmy here. He's worked on some of the biggest funnels in the game, working with ClickFunnels, Tony Robbins, Dave Asprey, and others build massive success. He's also a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, and believes in both working smart and hard. So let's get into it. Are you excited to be here?
Yeah, I'm excited to because I took a day off from doing any kind of publishing or talking or anything like that. And I kind of got hooked on it in the first week of going all in on podcasts. And finally it's great. The next time came around and now I get to share and build relationships and have fun and talk. And so, yes, I am weirdly enough, I'm excited to be here.
Break, you're back in it. And rumor has it, you're going to be releasing your own podcast here soon too, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a little teaser, Better Humans, because humans should be left better than we found them. There you go.
I like that. I like that. You know what? I also think that funnels should be left better than we found them. So segueing into that, right?
Yeah.
You've been part of some really legendary funnels. What's the secret to a high converting funnel?
Ooh, okay. Listen, I know you guys have heard it all before because Russell Brunson does the best job in the entire world at getting a message out to the marketplace. But I would be doing you a disservice if I told you anything besides the framework hook, story, offer. That is it. That's the secret. Sorry, Russell already spilled the beans over the last decade, but that's anytime we ever do anything, literally anything. It's did they click? No, they didn't click. Need a better hook. Did a bunch of people click and then they looked at the page and then they bounced? Your story sucks. Get a better story.
Mm-hmm.
And did they get to the credit card page and they punched everything in and they're no, and then they bounced off the credit card form? Sorry, you need a better offer. That's the secret. And you work from forward to back. That's the way you know, because it's literally think of it in an actual physical funnel. If there were things inside of this tube that you dropped and then stuff wasn't pouring out the bottom, you'd be oh, there's an obstruction inside of the funnel. I need to clear out the obstruction so my liquid can pour through with no friction. In the same way, your traffic is your liquid, right? You need to be able to pour that liquid in the top, have zero obstruction, so as much liquid can flow back out through the bottom. Your funnels are the exact same way.
Yep, absolutely.
Hook, story, and offer.
Hook, story, offer. If we didn't hear that enough at FHL, hook, story, offer.
Yeah.
So, all right, with that, then I see sometimes some business owners that are struggling with running Facebook ads to funnels that aren't converting. So what kind of advice do you have then for getting a funnel ready before even thinking about paid traffic?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of people don't factor in their immediate network or how to get plugged into networks. And I don't mean renting somebody's lists, and I don't mean I don't mean spending any money. I mean, how do you get connected into the group of people or get connected into the congregation or the flow of traffic around your offer that already exists? I guarantee you, whatever you're doing, it's probably not all that new. Someone's probably done something like it before. So if you're selling a pickleball thing, guess what? There's so many groups of people out there that do pickleball. It's insane. I do pickleball. I have 4 rackets, and I have my own custom net. It has all the little placards, so I can go literally into a parking lot and play pickleball if I have that big of an itch, right? So if you're selling a pickleball thing and you need to test your offer out, guess what? Go door to door online, go virtually, and just tap people's shoulders, message them. It costs you nothing to reach out and just ask some people, at least get some feedback, because then at least you have data. You're not going in blind with Facebook ads. You can at least hey, when you ran into this issue when learning pickleball, what did you do? Or, I never ran into that issue. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So maybe there's not a good product market fit here, or maybe you need to find another angle to be able to introduce your product. But reaching out and tapping shoulders and getting plugged into the networks that already exist out there on the internet costs you nothing. And almost nobody does it because it's just the work that nobody wants to do.
Yeah, I think people are a little too quick to be let me buy traffic to go into this funnel with this new offer that have never tested before. And then they're like, spend a couple $100 on it, or, do the $1,000 ad test, and then it's not converting. And they're like, let's move on. This isn't working. And what would you say to someone like that, right? Like if they've done an ad test and they've sent traffic through the funnel, and like, do you burn it all down, or what do you do next?
I would literally defer back to kind of like what I just said. Okay, look at it this way. It's 2025. If you're not on Facebook, if you're not on Instagram, if you're not on X, if you're not on any of these platforms, like, first off, you're trying to be an entrepreneur. You're trying to sell things. You're trying to sell a product to fit another person's problem. You have a solution, they have a problem, but you're not interested in connecting with the people that you're trying to sell to. You have no business buying ads yet. Like, you just don't know the person you're trying to sell to. And so you need that relationship. You need that intimate understanding. Like, how are they ever going to like, know, and trust you if you never like try to like, know, and trust them? Because it's relationship and it goes both ways. And I'm literally saying this from the standpoint of like, you're trying to launch a product into the marketplace. And there's tons of people that already have established credibility, authority, and trust. They already like are known and well liked inside of their marketplace. So when they go to launch something new, you can just throw money at Zuckerberg and he'll help you print dollar bills over and over and over again. That's great. You're trying to get off the ground. Like, you need to be plugged into the networks that already exist. And it's 2025. Like, you are in no shortage of relationships or opportunities to create new relationships. And so if you're not doing that, why are you giving Zuckerberg free money?
Right. It's so interesting. I'm literally watching my own mother do this right now.
Okay.
She retired and I'm helping her launch a business. She's actually launching a business in helping online service providers and coaches and consultants recover bad debt. She's got 25 years in the business or in the industry of like recovering bad debt. And so it's literally been like, okay, I want to do this online business. And now, we've got the offer, we've got the messaging, hook story offer, right? We've got the page. And so she's out networking. And then the more people that like hear about her, it's that snowball effect, right? Because she doesn't have a ton of budget to put into ads. I'm telling her not to run ads yet. Like, we're still validating, making sure that people want this. Because there's a big mindset thing that comes with like going after bad debt, right? It's like, it's yucky. I don't want to do that. So we're validating everything still, but watching her go out there and like make connections and talk to people and follow up in the DMs and ask them like, is this interesting to you? Is this something you would pursue? Like, what would you pay for that? So I'm watching this unfold with my own mother, and it's so cool to see. So once a funnel is converting, what would you say? Like we said, you have built some really amazing funnels that have gotten a ton of traffic. Is there ever a point at where you're like sending traffic, or, say media buyer sending traffic to the funnel, and then all of a sudden the conversion rate's not what it was, right? We're scaling, we're expanding the traffic that's coming to the funnel, and now it's not converting. Where would you look first for like figuring out what's wrong?
That's actually, it's a really interesting point that a lot of businesses get to. And it has to do with the temperature of your market. And I'm sure that a lot of people, if you're in the whole like marketing and traffic and conversions ecosystem or world or realm that we all live in, you've probably heard of like hot traffic or warm traffic or cold traffic or anything like that. It's basically like when you send people to the page, it's like, how familiar are they with you? Do they know who you are? Do they know about like the message or like the product or the solution or anything like that? And so what happens normally is that you start off with people who are really familiar with you. Maybe you initially launch to somebody who's on your own email list, or maybe someone who's on your social media following. Guess what? Those people are really familiar with you, and the trust factor is already up here. So you've already like broken through that alligator brain of like, can I trust giving dollar bills to this person in order to receive their product or solution? Right? So your conversion rates are naturally just going to be a lot higher because you immediately launch to hot traffic. And you're going to start branching out into colder and colder traffic. And so your messaging has to change slightly as you go out into those increasingly colder markets. One of the ways that I've seen that kind of like broken down really easily is actually leveraging other people's trust in order to like branch into their audience and like their ecosystem. So doing affiliate and JV deals with people you're able to like leverage their trust that they already have with their audience. So you can keep that same messaging and expect relatively the same conversion rates.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're kind of like co-branding or like co-authoritating that offer with that affiliate or JV partner. And then you can launch to their list and then you can get similar results. But what happens for a lot of people is like they'll turn ads on. And so you might get people who like, it's good product market fit, but they're just unfamiliar with like who the business is or who the brand is or who the attractive character or voice for that brand is. And so what they need is more familiarity. What a word.
That word.
Familiarity. That word. They need more familiarity. And they need more touch points, and they need like they need more from you in order to build that trust. And also the messaging that's going to land with them is not like, here's me, who I am, and the thing that I build. It's going to be, this is your pain point, this is your problem, and guess what? We've built a solution for it. Hi, this is so and so from like X brand. And then you start to relate to them and start to relate and share their pain and share their story, help move them away from pain and towards pleasure. And then that's how that's that shift where before it was like you could just lead with trust and authority. Now you need to lead with their problem and pulling them out from that pain. And that's how you kind of like take that message shift and move into colder and colder markets.
Yeah. Wow. So insightful. I think that's going to be really helpful to a lot of people that are watching this. So awesome. I love that. I want to shift just a little bit here and talk about, because I know there's a huge part of your life, Jimmy, that is about faith and family, right? So I want to shift into that just a little bit. And business success is one thing, but balancing that with faith and family is another one. So how do you personally navigate living out your faith while running a business and being a husband and father and like all of that?
Jody, this might be one of the most loaded questions you could have asked, because now my brain is going like, let's recap all the things you've been doing just like in the last 6 months and like how much reliance I've had to have on God and like trust with like joining coaching programs and things like that. It's like, okay, here's a giant sum of cash I'm going to put into this coaching program. God, I'm trusting you that it's all going to come back to me plus some. Like, here's a massive reliance. And then the other half is like, okay, when you do that, like you got to have your spouse on board with it. And I'm extremely fortunate that like when it comes to things in business, my wife is like one of the most supportive people of me. Like she believes in me and trusts me so much. And I'm like, I don't remember like what I did to deserve this. Like, I'm not entirely sure, but she's just the coolest about stuff like that. And like, we got to a point where like, okay, like literally in the last, probably, what was it? Like halfway through the year, last year, 2024, we made a radical shift in the agency side of the business that I do. And we changed the client, we scaled the offer. We're like, we're doing like way, way bigger deals now. But the shift it took in order to get there was, I'll use words like radical, delusional, like, how is this going to work? Like, I literally don't know. I just have to like trust the process.
So beyond visionary, is that what you mean?
Yeah, like, basically it was like,
hey, the realm of visionary to where we're like delusional. I get you. I totally
It's basically like the last 5 or 6 years have been like this level of ordinary. And now we want to be in like a realm of extraordinary. And so, like, okay, here we go. And like the bank accounts floated close to zero. And there was a point where like I'm on the phone with Amex and they're like, hey, like you're supposed to pay this bill. And I'm like, I'm trying to pay the bill. And they're like, so when are you going to pay? And I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to pay you. And they're like, what do you mean you don't know when you're going to be able to pay us? And I'm like, guys, you don't understand. I just paid this guy a lot of money. And I'm learning a whole new thing and it's changing me from the inside out. And then it's changing my offers and the clients and the impact of the guys that like Amex. Do you understand like the impact we're going to have on people's business and their customers? And they're like, bro, I just need you to pay this bill. And so it was crazy. And then what came out on the other side of that, which by the way, like this also included me being like face down on the floor, like praying to God about like trust and reliance through the entire process. And I'm downplaying this a lot because I know that like we don't have a ton of time here today to unpack everything, but like you have to be open to God, and then you have to like you can only be as supportive as like your spouse will allow you to be.
Yeah.
And like and her like full permission to move forward with this has been like, I couldn't do it without her like
Yeah.
literally taking up the rest of our life and like owning it and running with it.
It really, honestly, what you're saying, it speaks volumes to the level of faith that you've lived out in front of your wife for her to be able to see that in you, right? Like
Yeah.
you have a certain level of faith in God. He has shown up faithfully throughout your life. Same thing for me, right? Like God's faithfulness keeps showing up over and over and over again when I don't deserve it. And because of that, she has found a trust in you because you're placing your trust completely in God. And I mean, I don't know any other way to explain it, right? Because it feels so like undeserving and like, why would you trust me this much with making decisions of this magnitude sort of thing? I totally get that.
Did you catch my interview with Sarah Grace Allred?
No, but I'm going to have to go find it.
We had, okay, not to detract from anything here, but like I literally like, why am I worthy? And like, if you go listen to that episode with her, like I get this insane, just the most insane vision from God. And I cried. Like, I was just like, okay, never mind. I'm going to tell you, I was one of those moments where I'm like praying on the floor and like, God, you said you're going to take care of me. Like, why are you going to, like, I don't understand. Like, why would you do this for me? I'm not worthy. And it was the moment that I'm not worthy, like came out of my mouth that like I had my eyes closed and I was on the floor. And then it seemed like a flashbang of white went off in my eyelids. And then like the only thing that like came through for me was like this white cross. And God said to me, like, you are not worthy, but my son is. Like, that's it. I'm
That's
not
it.
worthy.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is absolutely it. Oh my goodness. Well, my nose was running before. It's running even more because like I'm trying not to cry.
Don't cry.
Sorry to the audience. Okay. So husband, father, I mean, how has becoming a parent shaped your approach to business? Especially, I mean, you gotta face it, right? We're in an industry that glorifies hustle in so many ways. They're like, hustle your face off and like, get up at 5 a.m. and work until 2 a.m. and blah, blah, blah. Like how has becoming a parent shaped that for you? Like, are you a part of the hustle culture?
I'm going to say yes, but like not in the like strict routine 5 a.m., like get my workouts done. I actually, I'm just coming out of a season of like, we'll call it like radical hustle in order to achieve a specific thing.
I love
And that's
seasons
kind of
like that. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, okay. First, I was having a discussion with somebody else at some point, and I basically was like, okay, the reason why I decided to take like huge steps toward transforming the agency leg of what I do to help people like is because I have a 1.5-year-old. I have another baby on the way. And based on my experience with parenting so far, if I want to achieve great things in my life, it will never be easier than it is right now. It will only become more difficult the longer I put it off. And
as a mother of, right now, my kids are, okay, my oldest is 24, don't tell anybody. And then I have an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And I will agree, like, as they get older and they like realize the concept of time and like, are you spending time with me? Are you not? Like, why are you spending so much time in your office? It does get harder. When they're like itty bitty, they can hang out on my lap while I'm working or like crawl around, things like they don't really talk back to me. So, you are
I would
absolutely right. You're not just
I
onto
would just
something.
like
You're
send
right.
Voxes. I would send Voxes, like the baby's like napping on my chest and I'm like typing and like, hey, like whispering in a box, like, hey, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, let's do Wednesday. Like,
Right.
and they're like, are you whispering? I'm like, yeah, my baby's asleep on my chest. Like, this is the time that I have to work. And so the latter half of your question was like, are you a part of hustle culture? And it's like, okay, yes, but literally because like that's the like hustle work. So in the beginning you were like, you work smarter and harder. It's like, yeah, you work harder all the time to work smarter all the time. So now it's like, okay, I'm looking at how to put new levels and layers of leverage on what I do all the time so that like I can't be the guy who like does these little like micro tasks anymore. Like I have to work inside of increasingly higher amounts of leverage.
Yep.
So as I'm working harder, I work harder so that I can work smarter, and those two like compound on each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so one of my like favorite things from Alex Sharfin is a good friend of mine, and I was in his mastermind for a couple years, and I always binge watched his podcast. And he basically said like anything tactical that you have on your plate can be delegated to like a person, a process, a procedure, a project. I feel like there's one other thing. There was like 5 things, but he's like that's a great thing to be working on right now is, you know, like hustle getting the work done and work on setting up all of these things in order to be able to delegate so that when you have less time, the machine is still going and you're not the one that's the cog in the center, right?
Correct.
Because then you end up being a bottleneck. And so you've got your team running it. Actually, Dan Henry just literally, I was scrolling before this show, and he literally was like, I'm on the beach. I'm having so much fun. My team is running everything. I would sell you guys all these amazing things that we have about operations, but you guys don't want to buy that. You guys want to buy biz op things. You know, nobody wants to buy things about operations. And that's actually really kind of sad because that's where the true freedom comes in, right? Is you get the marketing spinning, you get everything going, and you get your processes and your procedures and everything down in an amazing team. And then you scale it with literally with operations.
Yeah. Well, that's just like, it's telling of like where people are, where they truly are in their business is like, where's their focus and attention going?
Yeah.
And if your focus and attention is literally going to the things that like your employees or contractors are doing, you have the wrong people there.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to be frank, like maybe you didn't pay enough. Maybe you just didn't like pay enough to hire the right person. In which case I'd go sell more, go get better relationships, go sell more, than hire the people that are expensive enough that alleviate those tasks, not compound those tasks for you.
Be willing to sacrifice a little bit of profit margin in order to have like a better outcome for your clients and everybody. Absolutely. Man, you're speaking my language. Like these are things that I have absolutely walked through as an agency owner for sure. So, okay. We're going to move into the next segment. I mean, I feel like we could talk about this stuff all day, right? The personal stuff and the scaling and everything. You've worked with Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins, and some other legends. So working alongside of them, I'm sure you've picked up some other things besides just, you know, I'm going to work on your funnel sort of thing. What's the best business or life advice that you've picked up from working alongside of these people?
I want to talk specifically on Russell Brunson. And so you probably know, because you were at Funnel Hacking Live, a lot of people don't know, like in the ClickFunnels realm, there's another partner in the business. His name's Todd Dickerson.
Yes.
And he's the guy who like wrote all the original code and built the original software. And of course, he like built the team to like perpetuate that.
The only reason I know the word Ruby on Rails is because because of ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson and Todd Dickerson.
Literally
otherwise
same.
Never even know what that word was.
Exactly. So there's a thing that they used to say. So I was like 19, maybe 20 years old. By the way, some helpful context here is that Todd Dickerson is my brother-in-law. And so like right out of high school, as I'm about to go into college, he asks if I wanted to go do like an internship out of this office in, guess where? Boise, Idaho, right? So you can probably connect some dots here and be like, okay, so this is right about when like Russell and Todd started to partner on some projects and stuff like that. So I go out there and I like learn as much code, Ruby on Rails stuff as I can. And then I start learning that like Russell like does marketing, and I get like, there's like a Tuesday, like a random Tuesday, like while we're out there for like 3 weeks, and Russell's like clacking on his keyboard. And he's like, okay, email's going out. I'm sitting there in my desk, like, okay, dude, like whatever. I send emails all the time. I don't understand why you're announcing this to the entire room. Felt weird. That's because I didn't understand like what an email list was, what an email autoresponder was, like anything. Like I knew nothing. And so it was like probably like an hour, maybe 2 hours later, he updates the room and he goes, okay, guys, we just passed 40K. And I was like, "Okay, what?" He's like, $40,000 in sales. And I'm like, my jaw dropped because like I'm from actually Canton, Georgia is on like the up and up right now. But
go Canton, Georgia.
Yeah, right. Like 20 years ago, Canton was like pastures, pine trees, cows, like the chickens, they smelled so bad. And you worked an entire year to earn $40,000. And this guy did it on a Tuesday by sending an email out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that broke my brain. So from that point forward, it was like my start in my yes, like, okay, like this guy knows stuff that I need to learn. Like Todd knows stuff that I need to learn. And so specifically, if there was something that if I could teach other people how to do this, I would. And these are things that like you won't hear on stage from Todd and you won't hear on stage from Russell, maybe a little bit from Russell, but you pick this up by being in proximity with them. And that is like obsession and perseverance and vigilance for your mission. If you don't have those, you probably won't go very far. You might go a year. Hopefully you go 2 years, but how do you build something that's lasting over a 10-year period of time?
Yeah.
It is obsession and vigilance. I can tell you that I don't know a single person. I do not know personally, right? I'm sure that there's other entrepreneurs who are like whack jobs, right? But I
Aren't we
don't
all?
know
Really?
anybody. Yeah, literally. I don't know anybody who outworks Russell Brunson and Todd Dickerson. They do not stop. They don't, I mean, they sleep, right? But like they literally don't stop. They wake up and then boom, mission. They go to bed. Before they go into bed, boom, mission. Like they are on it. So like there's other competitors out in the marketplace, but they don't have that. And so they're going to lose in the end because they will outlast them. So if there's one thing that, and dude, Tony, okay. So Tony is like, we were both just at Funnel Hacking Live. Did you notice a little twist that he had on his performance this year? It's not a performance. I guess like his speech, I guess. I don't know.
No, I mean, I've seen him at like 3 times, I think at FHL. I've seen him, but I didn't pick up on it. So you're going to have to clue me in.
Okay. So he's got those new dancers that go up with him now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Tony's like mid-60s at this point. So
But he
I'm
has
sure
a kid the same age as mine. He's got like a 3-year-old.
yeah,
right?
more power to him, I guess. Good for him.
That's what the dancers are for. They take care of the kid too.
But that conversation about like obsession and vigilance, I can guarantee you the story, or the thing that's going on in his head is like, we need to change their state. We need to get them in momentum and we need to get them in motion. So what can we do? Like, okay, Tony wants to be the guy who's slapping his arm around, jumping up and down, say yes, say yes. Like he wants to be the guy, but like Tony's getting older.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. He's like, he can't keep doing it, but he won't sacrifice. Like he can't just go in the audience and be like, guys, I'd love to jump up and down and like rattle you up to change your state, but I'm getting a little older. No, he gets a team of people out there, and it's like, okay, here's some, like, I recognize that like he will not sacrifice the quality of what he does for the excuse of I'm getting older. Like that's vigilance in the mission. Right?
Great job pointing that out. That's phenomenal. Kudos. Because I was like, what was different? But then he said it and I'm like, oh yeah, that was different. And then tying that into that's vigilance towards his mission. Absolutely. Very insightful. That was awesome. That's like a mic drop moment. I know, right? Okay. All right. This is going to be fun. I want rapid fire answers from you on the next 4 questions. What is the best funnel strategy for service providers?
Best funnel strategy for service providers. Josh is going to kill me or he'll love me. I don't know. The golden mic method.
Josh 40? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah. By the way, I'm literally saying this because like this is something that I made that huge change I was talking about. Like, so the golden mic method, and literally it's basically you need a way to get like instant rapport, like instant relationship with somebody. And so you leverage a golden mic in order to bring people on. You get your relationship, and all of a sudden, like you've got mutual interest. You start to see opportunities for mutual benefit. And then that way, and it's not like you're reaching out cold, like, hey, can I talk to you about my so-and-so solution? And they're like, no, like don't DM me. Like you instantly have, it's kind of like everything we talked about in the beginning is like, you need to build that relationship and the likability and the trust and all that. And so I personally think that the golden mic method is the best way right now. And just go Facebook Josh 40 if you want to learn more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how interesting that I have 10, 15 amazing guests coming up on my podcast. Huh. Interesting.
Yes. Yes. You get it.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You get it.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. Next one. What's one faith-based principle that guides your business decisions?
Oh, there's a scripture about it. The greatest among you will be your servant.
Yeah.
And I literally, don't ask me like where that is I can just see it in my head, because I also believe that God writes scripture, like put scripture on your heart. So like before you need to understand in your head, it's already on your heart. But the greatest among you, or the greatest among these, will be your servant. So the person who will lower themselves to help and to serve for the betterment of everybody around you, that person will be the greatest among you and your friends or your community, your neighborhood, your network. Yeah. That's
So
basically
showing up
like,
from a place of service.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. All right. What's your biggest family life lesson as an entrepreneur?
Family life lesson.
Biggest lesson so far as a dad or husband
As a dad,
in your entrepreneur life?
get in my kid's face as much as that sounds weird.
I was like, where is
Like,
he going with that?
Yeah. Get down to his level and like
Yes.
be with him. Like, I try so much to like eye to eye with him and be like face to face with him. This cheeky little thing right here, this cell phone, is like, I catch myself so many times that like my son is like playing with blocks and then I'm like responding to stuff on my phone. And I'm like, okay, I can 15 minutes away from the phone, easy. Like, I can do that. Set this down. Go be in his presence. Go be in his face and be his dad, and like choose being dad, as opposed to like half dad, half Jimmy, online, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I don't know if you're ready for this one. What's one marketing mistake that costs business thousands? What's one thing that people get wrong that costs them a lot of money?
Only thousands?
Billions.
Billions? Okay. One marketing mistake. I think not understanding the customer is detriment. You lose out. Like, you may have gotten their business once, but to get somebody to buy again and again, like, you need to understand like problems, and then once you've solved those problems, like, what new problems did those introduce? Do you talk to them? Do you receive that feedback, and do you actually like process that organizationally so that you are prepared for like the next purchase? Like, I do a lot of stuff with like course and community, and there's so many times where it's like, okay, they can buy once, but if you have a continuity program, like, you're not just asking them to buy once, you're asking them to buy again the next month and again the next month. And like, if you're not doing things to like continually perpetuate that mutual benefit inside of your continuity program, like, you're going to lose that customer to churn, because they saw the benefit one time and then they don't see the benefit the second time. And so when they don't see the benefit, they cancel.
Yep. Churn is a huge killer of revenue. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
goodness.
And what that boils down to is, I mean, I feel like I hammered this enough already, but it's relationship, because it's like two-way communication here. Like, you have a product, you have a message that you want to get out into the marketplace, but guess what? That customer has problem. And like, you've got to keep that up. It's a relationship.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, this has been a pleasure to have you on the show. Where can people connect with you? And also, drop me just one final piece of advice for business owners that are trying to scale their business without losing themselves in the process, or with having really great funnels and really great offers and connections to their audience.
Okay. So the best way for someone to get connected with me right now is pretty much Facebook. I'm Facebook. If you type in Jimmy Allen, or I'm pretty sure it's at Jimmy James Allen on Facebook. So I've just had that handle for like, since the internet was born. I've kept it. But it's Facebook for right now. Like we mentioned earlier, there's going to be a podcast coming, but like, don't worry about that right now. Like, hopefully it gets around to everybody and we get to share about all the cool stuff we're doing to help help humans through entrepreneurship and business. But yeah, for right now, Facebook is good. And then, sorry, what was the second half to your
Any
question?
final insights?
Yeah, I had something when you asked me it. That's so awkward.
We can edit out the pause. It's totally fine.
How did you ask it the first time? Because I actually had something.
One final piece of advice for business owners trying to scale without losing themselves in the process.
Yes. Okay. So if anyone wants to scale, you have to walk before you can crawl. So you have to go from 0 to 1 before you can go from 1 to scale.
Okay.
The best way I know to get from like 1 to scale without risking too much. And so like as entrepreneurs, we want to risk very little and then gain a lot and find that best like seesaw of like risk is low, reward is high. And it's tough sometimes. So what I mentioned earlier about like, just as an example, affiliates and JV, it's like, as soon as you're trying to take a message and like get it outside of your immediate network, look for alternative ways to like get that message out to the next group of people. Just because like ads are an amazing, amazing tool to instantaneously get a message out to a marketplace, but it does come with a cost. So the risk is very high. If your product and your message is really secure and like in the marketplace and it's very clear and you have good conversion rates, like run the ads, like blow that thing up, because it is the closest thing to printing money you will ever find. But a different way to do it, I'd encourage entrepreneurs who are just starting out, who maybe just went from 0 to 1 and now they're looking at 1 to scale. You can test your message and you can test your product inside of other people's networks or audiences. It will not cost as much as running Facebook ads. It may even only cost you, like in affiliate relationships, for example, it may only cost you when you make money, right? So like that's a great way
it's a lower risk. I talk with my clients a lot about risk tolerance. Like as we're coming on board and looking at, spend versus I and everything, it's like, what's your risk tolerance? Like, what are you willing to spend? And so it's nice with JVs and affiliates, that the spend doesn't happen until after you've already made the purchase. So the risk is so low.
Correct.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, guys, if you are in a spot where you're ready to scale your offer and your funnel with ads, hey, $1 Million Marketing is where it's at. You can click the link around this video and head over to my page to apply for a call, and we can just chat about where you're at with things and see if we're a good fit. Thanks again for listening to another episode of $1 Million Marketing. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for being here. And if you liked this episode, make sure that you subscribe, rate, and review. Share it with a friend who needs to hear this message. And remember, if you're not moving forward, then you're falling behind. So thank you so much for listening to $1 Million Marketing. We will see you next week.